Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here. At the end of my 8,000 subscribers special, which was a review of Tron, I announced that I'd be doing Tron Legacy for my 9k subscribers video. Once I hit 9,000 subscribers, I did start writing a Tron Legacy review, but halfway through production of this video I hit 10k. All thanks to the immense popularity of my new top 5 best and worst Blue Sky Studios movies video. Now, my initial thought was, let's just do Tron Legacy for my 10k special, but I thought, that's such a random choice of film for a big celebration like this. And looking back on what I had written, I didn't think it would fit the tone of what I wanted. This is a huge milestone for me. I wanted to have a bit of fun, and well, my review of Tron Legacy has a very mood to it. So after scrapping my Tron Legacy review, which I will return to one day, don't worry, I thought, well, let's see what I can do under this limited time, and realised, let's just keep things simple and do a Q&A. So let's get this party started with a glass of strawberry daiquiri. The first question is, does going to experience the movies in the theatres have more pros or cons? I think it depends entirely on what the screening itself is like, because every screening is going to be different, and every cinema is going to be different as well. For example, I went to go and see the Monty Python reunion show at one of my local cinemas, and the reason that screening was so much fun was because I was sharing it with a load of other huge Monty Python fans, and they were playing songs before the screening started, and everyone was singing along, and all the sketches were like 10 times funnier because everyone else in the room gave this vibe, this atmosphere, and it was just, yeah, I really liked that screening. It's one of my favourites I've had. There's also screenings that have some kind of gimmick or novelty that make it special. For example, when I went to go and see the Jungle Book remake with my friends, there was this kind of like photo booth where they would impose you onto the poster of Jungle Book. Things like that make a screening really special. On the other hand, there are screenings where you are sharing the room with the most rude and annoying people ever. It's hard to think of some good examples, but like, I've had to sit next to people that are like in their chair throughout the entire film. I've had to put with people that are talking all the way through the movie. Those are the screenings that are annoying. But for me, I really cherish cinema screenings. I always have, because there's something about the experience that's it's like nothing else. I think the closest you can have is maybe renting a DVD. And even then, it's not the same. What I like is that you're going to a screening that's booked, that's got a set time, and you have to be there at that time, and it makes it more of an event. And you can't miss it. And you can't leave, or you're gonna miss out on the story. And as someone that has attention problems, that really helps me. I don't have the excuse of pausing, and like, it keeps me focused on the film even if it's bad. And even if there is some kind of distraction while watching a film in the cinema, there's at least something to take me away from that. For example, I went to go and see Captain Marvel, and the only screening I could make before work was a baby-friendly screening. Now this is where parents can come take their babies to the cinema. And it doesn't matter what the film is, because babies aren't developed enough to enjoy films yet. It's more for the parents. So mums and dads can bring their child to the screening, their baby will cry, will moan, and like, no one can complain because it's a baby-friendly screening. And I think that's a fantastic idea. And it was my choice to be there, so I couldn't really be annoyed at myself, and I just forgot that there was screaming babies because I was having so much fun with the film. I was so into the movie. And it kind of helps that I do love babies and I want to be a dad, so yeah. Next question. Which traits do you find appealing in a movie review channel? Do you try to include them in your videos? This is something that I'm constantly observing lately, because my ideas and values when it comes to movie reviewing on YouTube are constantly evolving, and there's new things I'm noticing with some of my favourite reviewers. But I think it's finding the balance of two things: honesty and entertainment. And trust me, it's very difficult to do that, and I do get a little paranoid sometimes that maybe I've not found that balance in some of my videos. Because you've got to be sincere and calm and sensible and professional, but at the same time, you don't want to bore the audience. You don't want to make it too serious. You've still got to keep their attention, keep them engaged. And so there's a lot of reviewers out there that can do that so damn well, and I think it's a combination, depending on what tone they go with, it can be a combination of humour and language. I have become very self-conscious lately of the way I'm writing my reviews and the vocabulary I go with. I don't want to keep repeating the same kinds of phrases and words, and what I really love about one of my favourite reviewers, Bennett the Sage, is that he's a very talented writer, and the choice of words he goes with and the way he describes things, there's flavour and personality to it. And it's like you're going one step further beyond the basics of writing. Just instead of just being straightforward, you go back to it. And you think, well, what kind of adjectives can I add to this? What kind of extra thing can I put to this? Now, humour, it can be beneficial, but I don't think it's essential, because sometimes the topic might not require humour, or perhaps your internet persona is not really designed for comedy. But I feel like humour adds a lot because it keeps the audience connected. Because if you're going into a lot of complex detail about, say, a video game or a movie or whatever, you still want the audience to stay with you, especially if it's something out of their knowledge range. So I feel like humour can be really good for reviews, and I think recently it's something I'm wanting to embrace more. I mean, like, I've bounced between doing either serious or humorous reviews, and I feel like I want to put more comedy into my videos starting this year. But I think one of the things that's really important for review channels is humanity. Making viewers see that there's a person there, not an act, a person, a human being. And that's why I do like to put a lot of personal stuff into my reviews. I'll bring up something that happened in my life, or why a film hit me home, and things like that. It's this kind of, like, input that really makes a review channel more relatable and easier to resonate with. Next question is, do you like horror movies, and which is your favourite? So, I've had a kind of up and down relationship when it's come to horror. When I was a teenager, I was obsessed with horror. I was crazy about it. I just pursued any kind of horror film and I would watch them. But then as I got old and I became an adult, I was like getting very self-conscious of how people associated me with just being a horror fan or a gore hound. And so I started to try and watch other kinds of films, particularly art house films from Europe. I wanted to kind of like spread my interest and taste when it came to film. And then recently, over the years, my love for horror has come back, and it's come back with a huge bite. It really has. And I think a lot of that is credited to this new resurgence in horror, with films like Get Out, It Follows, and Babadook, movies that I loved and genuinely scared me. I'd also credit The One in Black. As for my favourite horror film, I would say that would have to be The Shining. When I first watched that, I kept turning the TV off and then I wanted to put it back on. That's the kind of morbid curiosity that gives horror so much adrenaline. Whenever I hear any music from The Shining, I just feel sick and I feel wrong, just ugh. Next question. Out of all the locations you've filmed your reviews in, which has been your favourite? I'd have to say anywhere I'm filming outdoors. When I did the Fantastic Mr. Fox review, I had the opportunity to film the entire review in a forest, and that was really interesting and really fun. I think I did it for Hoodwink 2 as well, and yeah, it just made for a more unique background for my reviews and a fun filming experience, because I really love the outdoors and I don't get many chances to go out there since becoming a professional YouTuber. How do you feel about narration in film? Do you find it redundant in a visual medium? It's difficult because yes, cinema's golden rule is show don't tell, but at the same time I feel as if that narration can add so much to a movie. For example, The Princess Bride. Now that has a really good use of narration because it's a framing device that helps the audience connect with the story. And helps like kids get more into the film, because everyone has been in that situation where they've been read to as kids by their grandparents or their parents. It's like the narration in Princess Bride adds a little something, but at the same time there's narration where you feel like, well, what was the point of that? We can see it. It's right there in front of us and it becomes patronizing. So yes, it can be redundant. But again, there's just narration that spices up a film, I think. Favourite Jambareeqi review. Now this kind of depends on what kind of review, because I do so many different styles and tones and moods. I would say the favourite comedic review I've done is Space Chimps 2. It can be very difficult for me to write comedic reviews because I definitely want to get straight to the point about my thoughts on a film, but because there was so little happening in Space Chimps 2, it gave me more freedom, more room to add humour and come up with sketches and gags and stuff, and so I'm really proud of that, and I've had people say that they found it very funny, and that makes me very happy. If I was to say serious reviews, I'm very proud of my review of The Prince of Egypt. I fought very hard about that, and it was a lot of writing work, and like I wanted to give the film justice. But I feel as if that the reviews I'm really proud of, probably more than the ones I've just mentioned, would be ones where I've gone through a very hard time in my life. Maybe like a breakup, I'm feeling sick, I've lost a loved one, something like that, and I still keep going. For example, Trumpet of the Swan, I made that while under a fever. I managed to finish it while feeling sick. And the Paranorman review, I had a sore throat, still kept going. Those are reviews that mean a lot to me. Do you Brits drink tea, or is it a stereotype that's been overblown in society? British people do love tea a lot. I'm not one of them. I do not like tea. It's just bitter water to me. I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea. I know that was obvious, but still. Yeah, so I prefer hot chocolate. Whenever I'm going drinking with friends, who usually have tea, yes, I have hot chocolate. But yeah, whenever I've been at any kind of workplace, everyone is always excited about some kind of opportunity to have tea. So yeah, I am incredibly grateful to everyone that helped me get to the 10k milestone. I really am. I'll admit that I'm still trying to take it all in. I mean, parts of me are thinking, do I deserve this? Which is considered borderline imposter syndrome. But at the same time, there are parts of me thinking, like, you've been trying to fight for this goal for almost 6 years. So yeah, I'm incredibly appreciative and grateful for everyone that's kind of like helped me to get to this number. Anyway, let's chug this down and wrap things up. I've been Jambareeqi. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. When I reach 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to be reviewing the entire Brave Little Toaster trilogy. The whole trilogy in one video. So if you want to see that, then my best advice is to share my channel and my videos with as many people as you can. Cheerio folks, thank you lots, and I hope you all have a good day.